Review for Polynomials, Quiz 3. Question 1. We're told to simplify the square root of 128. So we just break 128 into factors. So recall 128 is 2 times 64. And we're looking for a perfect square. So we know 164 is pretty big. So let's start with 4. 4 squared equals 16. 5 squared equals 5 times 5, which is 25. 6 squared is 36. 7 squared is 49. And 8 squared equals 64. So 64 is a perfect square. So let's start writing in our work into the window. So we can write, say, square root 128 equals square root 64 don't see it. There isn't a times button, so you can just use the asterisk for times square root 2, which equals 8 root 2, and we're done. Question number 1. So this is determine the nature of the solution of each quadratic equation. Remember that if we recall the discriminant formula, erase our stuff from the last slide. Our discriminant is the b squared minus 4ac. So in A, b will be negative 11, so we're just going to go to our Desmos window. So we'll do A first, negative 11 squared minus 4, parentheses, A is 4, 4, parentheses, 7. So our answer for A is 9. So recall when b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0, we have 2 real roots. When b squared minus 4ac equals 0, we have 1 real root. And when b squared minus 4ac is less than 0, we have 2 imaginary roots. So b9 is greater than 0, so the first one's going to be 2 real roots. Okay, next one. B is negative 6. So negative 6 squared minus 4 A is 3, parentheses 3, and then C is also 3. So parentheses 3, and this time we get 0, and by our definition, it has to have one real root. So we'll scroll down to one real root. And then our last one. B is going to be 5, A is going to be 1, and C is going to be 11. So 5 squared minus 4, parentheses, A is 2, C is 11. 2, parentheses 11. This time we get a negative 63. So negative 63 is less than 0, so that means there's 2 imaginary roots, and we're done with question number 2. Question 3, we're told to solve using quadratic formula. So recall quadratic formula is negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac, all this over 2a. So b is 11, negative 11, so it's be positive 11 plus or minus square root negative 11 squared minus 4 parentheses 3 parentheses 5, all this over 2 parentheses 3. From here we just simplify. So it'll be, let's go to the next line. 11 plus or minus square root, 11 squared is 121, and 4 times 3 is 12, times 5 is going to be 60. So minus 60, all this over 6. And this simplifies into 11 plus or minus root 121 minus 60 would be 61. All this over 6, and that's what we would type into. We can either take a picture of our work and upload it, or just type that in somehow using the equation features of Desmos. So taking a picture of the works is perfectly sufficient for this one. So we're done question number 3. Or actually, we could just, if we wanted to, we could also type this into Desmos. So you can type in 11 plus and you'd have to show some work. So square root negative 11, oops, too many negatives. Squared minus 4 parentheses 3 parentheses 5. And then all over 2 parentheses 3. And remember, you just hit the gear, done, and just change this one to minus. And for the next one, you will just show that you simplified it. So you can say, first at the fraction, 11 plus root 61 all over 6. So that's the same as the first one. And then the next one would be, well, let's just copy this one. 11 minus root 61 over 6. And you can see that's the same as the original equation. And you can just copy that link and you can paste that into the paragraph, and that can be sufficient for your work. And we're done question number 3. We're given 2x squared minus 5x plus 6 equals 0. So let's erase what we had in the last one. So I'm just going to rewrite the quadratic formula. Negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac, all this over 2a. So b is negative 5 this time, so we're going to have 5 plus or minus square root 5 squared minus 4 parentheses 2 parentheses 6, all this over 2 parentheses 2. Now we just simplify. 5 plus or minus square root 5 squared is 25 minus 4 times 2, which is going to be 8, times 6 is going to be 48. All this over 4. So just continue simplifying. 25 minus 43 would be, or sorry, 48 would be negative 23. So 5 plus or minus square root negative 23 all over 4. Remember, when we have that negative, it's going to be having I, so it's 5 plus or minus I root 23, all that over 4. And if we want to put that in the Desmos real quick, remember, it's probably going to give you a wrong answer, but at least you can show your work that way. So first hit the fraction bar. 5 plus square root 5 squared minus parentheses around 5 squared minus 4 parentheses 2 parentheses 6, all this over 2 parentheses 2. And then there isn't a way in Desmos to show imaginaries, I don't think. So just going to copy it and put the negative version in. And then we can just type in fraction bar 5. We're just showing our work. 5 plus I square root 23 all over 4. And we're not going to add a slider. We're just having a convenient way to show our answer. And 5 minus I square root 23 all over 4. And we can share the graph. Copy, and we can just paste this into our quiz. And we're done. Question number 4. Question number 5. We're told John jumped off a cliff into the ocean in Hawaii while vacationing with his family. His height is a function of time can be modeled by the function h of t equals negative 16t squared plus 16t plus 480, where t is the time in seconds and h is the height in feet. Use a quadratic formula to determine after how much time did Jason hit the water. So we don't have to use a quadratic formula. Well, it does say use a quadratic formula, so we're going to use that. So let's show our work. Let's see where's your work from last time. So we have negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac, all is over 2a. So b is going to be 16. So negative 16 plus or minus square root 16 squared minus 4 parentheses 2 parentheses 16 parentheses 480. All is over 2 parentheses negative 16. So that's what we're going to type into our Desmos window. So let's clear out the stuff from the last time. Make a big fraction bar. And we're going to have negative 16 plus square root 16 squared minus 4 parentheses 16 parentheses 480, all is over 2 parentheses 16. Oops. That should be a negative 16. So we get 5 for our answer. If we check the other answer, let's just copy it. We're only going to get a negative 6. So we're just going to copy our work, showing that we did it. Copy it. Paste the link. And so we can just write an explanation. After the positive answer is 5 seconds, Jason hit the water, and we're done. So we've showed our work, and we're writing an explanation to explain when Jason hit the water. So we've answered the question. So we're done. Question number 5. Question number 6, we're told to complete the square. So let's do the complete the square. So we have x squared minus 22x plus 121 equals 0. So first step, let's just type this in. That's probably the simplest thing to just type our work in from the beginning. So x squared minus 22x plus 121 equals 0. We're going to subtract 121 from both sides. So our next line is going to read x squared minus 22x equals negative 121. So now, and that's by subtracting 121 from both sides. So we can just line up on this line, we could line up minus 121. 21 minus 121. So now we want to do b squared, which is negative 22, divide 2 squared, and that's going to give me 11, or negative 11 squared, which will give me 121. So we're going to have x squared minus 22x plus 121 equals 121 minus 121. So our next line, this continues simplifying. So x squared, sorry, just factor it. X minus 11 squared equals 0, because 121 minus 121 is going to be 0. Next line we'll be taking the square root of both sides. So it's going to be x minus 11. The square root of 0 is going to be 0. Equals 0. So that tells me x equals 11. And we're done with question number 6. And question number 7. It says a longitudinal section of a hill makes a parabola shape that has the equation y equals negative x minus 5 squared plus 8, where x and y are measured in kilometers. How tall is the hill? This is vertex form. So remember when we have a x minus h squared plus k, our vertex is going to be in the form of h comma k, where h in this situation would be the x coordinate of the height and k would be the actual height of the hill. So k is going to be equal to the height. So so we can just say the vertex is 5 comma 8. So the height is 8 kilometers, which is the y coordinate. And we're done question part A. Okay, it says find the points in the hill where the hill is at ground level, the x-intercept. So we're just going to type this in the Desmos. So clear out everything that we've had previously. -2, parentheses, x minus 5 squared plus 8. So our x-intercepts are 3, 0, and 7, 0. If we want to, we can just copy this in, so we can show that we enter the graph incorrectly. So we can just type in B, type in our work, and we can just show 3 comma 0, and the other one was 7 comma 0. And then for part C, it says how long is a longitudinal section of the hill. So it's just asking how long is it from each of the two x-intercepts. So we just subtract them. 7 minus 3 equals 4. So we can just put it in words. So the longitudinal section of the hill is 4 kilometers. And we're done question number 7. Hopefully this helps you have a better understanding of how to solve the questions in Polynomials Quiz 3.